What's good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with my local report and discussion. To put a community poll up, or not a community post up saying like, hey guys, I'm going to discuss my local report, the ban list, and the master rule revision. And then I decided to do a little bit of question and answer. So I kind of started it kind of early this morning, and I'm making the video now, so I didn't really get a lot of time to get a lot of questions in, but I did get, I think, 5 questions, and I'll answer all of them. In the future, we will put these Q&As up a little bit sooner so that, you know, more people can get in there. Before we continue on, guys, remember, check out our sponsors down below in the links. We have OPHIDIAN Duelist, who is an amazing sponsor. He provided this awesome playmat, so go get yours today. We have Game Time cards and collectibles. Use our code down there to get 10% off your order from their website, and use our code for OPHIDIAN to get 5% off your order. But guys, really the main point of this video is to bring awareness for Australia. So I'm in the link in the description below. I'm going to have at least 3 websites that you guys can go and donate to help Australia. If you guys do not know what's going on, I mean, some people do live under rocks, some people just choose not to pay attention. Australia is practically on fire. I mean, I think it's estimated billions of animals have died. I did hear somewhere they said that the koala now can be classified as endangered because of the amount of deaths that have happened. People are losing their homes, wildlife being ravaged. The entire country is ablaze. So that is a movement I want to get behind. Shout out to Winter Kills. Please go over to him and comment on his stuff, watch his videos. He is also too trying to get something to go together to potentially raise awareness for this. I have already donated to the first link down in the description below. I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but please, guys, if you guys have $1, any little bit amount helps. And these are all official resources or official links to help Australia. So like, no one's going to take your money for you or anything like that. It's not a scam or anything. It'll go directly to them, which then they can use to help the animals, the people, anything you want. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this locals report. So round 1, it was not a good locals, actually, to start off there. It was not a good locals at all. Your boy went 3-1, or no, 1-3, excuse me. Round 1 was Pendulum Magician. I lose the dice roll. He made, best hand actually all day was against him round 1. I opened full combo, everything. But he went first, disrupted my normal summon, which then I scooped and decided to go to game 2, where I opted to go first. And your boy here was like, I'm going to open great and win. Your boy opened. I'll show you what your boy opened. And it was not great. It was actually awful. This is what your boy opened for going first. And if any of you guys know about Crusadia, you need to open 1 Crusadia plus 1 extender to have the full combo. I did not open any extenders, so I had to set the rocket and pass to him. But upon looking at it now, after testing a little bit more with it, I could have normaled this, linked it, and set the crawler, and then summoned the crawler to the Mega Zone, got 2 searches, yada yada, maybe potentially have lived through the turn. But it was not looking good. But this was my hand against him. So I got 2-0'd there quite viciously. So shout out to my man Jason, you gave me the hands. Now round 2, I played against Salmon Great, my teammate, not my teammate Taylor. So he knew what I was playing. I won the dice roll. I went first. He actually dropped Phantasme, and then after the Phantasme resolved, he decided to scoop it up because I guess he didn't open any hand traps, and I was essentially had full combo there too. So then the next game, I decided to go second. I sided in my side deck, which of course I'll talk to you guys here in a second about. Yeah, my side deck was phenomenal because it didn't show up. That was sarcasm. I wish it would have showed up. It didn't show up. So then I just used my pure Crusadia raw Crusadia power and played through. I eventually was whapping for lethal with Regulex, but then guys, Sanctuary not only relinks the monster, reincarnate links the monster, it allows you to be protected from being one-punched and whacked. Yeah, before damage is dealt, they can pay 1,000 life points, target a linked Salmon Great link monster, gain its attack. When you swing for 8,200 damage on a full 8,000 and they do that, and then they're at 88 because they targeted Sunlight Wolf, it does not feel bueno. So anyway, that's what happened game 1. I ended up swinging in. There's nothing that I could do. I swung into a Balinx. He used the Sanctuary to protect his, or to gain life, which I couldn't stop. And yeah, so then game 3, I opted to go first. I ended up getting in-permed twice. Upon looking at my hand, like I kind of, you know, Salmon Greats struggle to put out a lot of damage. They can, but they struggle to do it. I had the flawless hand of going second. I had these 2 cards left in my hand, and I pretty much, no, not Draco, excuse me, Arborea. I had these 3 cards in my hand, and I told him, you better kill me because I have enough cards in my hand right now to 1-punch you the next turn. He didn't kill me. I go in for the 1-punch yet again, and that darn Sanctuary pops up and pretty much lets him gain life. But it was a lot of misplaying on my part. I'll explain the next game where I hardcore misplayed. And then this game was, I had enough stuff that Equal Max was pointing to that I could attributed it to negate the Sanctuary to swung for damage, but it was a misplay on my part. But it happens, like I said, I've not been touching this deck really competitively when I've not been playing with it for a while. I've been testing with Chris John, so you know, misplays are bound to happen. Jumping next to round 3, Salamangreats again, similar to what happened in the next game, or in the previous game, excuse me. I open Nuts game 1. He can't, like, not really any deck can beat Equal Max with a Dawn Dragster or a Draco Berserker or Borload Savage and a Turtle. Like, no deck can really beat that because it's almost too busted. And essentially in all my games, like, my play strategy is, like, I want to end with Arborea in the grave. So then, like, not only is my board set up with, like, Equal Max, let's see here. I'll just quickly throw it out here for you guys. Like, not only is my board set up with Equal Max and, like, Gamma-Seal, like, not only is my board set up with, like this, but I also want Arborea in the graveyard to protect the Equal Max from being outed. So, like, in the worst case, like, they destroy my field, I'm still going to be able to potentially have Equal Max on to apply more pressure for the following turn. But this is where my second biggest misplay of the night happened, actually. So, in the second turn, he opts to go first. He pretty much, let's see here, my opening hand for going second, of course, didn't see no side deck. I remember specifically it was these 3 cards. It was 2 Reclusia and 1 Arborea. I special to the zone that the Sunlight Wolf points to, triggered this to pop his set Roar. Roar was fine because I knew he had Roar, but I should have known that if they have Roar, they're more likely also going to have Rage. But I just wasn't thinking, so I popped the Roar, and without fear of the Roar, instead of normal summoning the Arborea and then linking it off, that's what I should have done, and then he flipped Roar, and I've been able to protect my stuff, right? Yeah, incorrect. Your boy saw that Arborea was there, normal summoned the extra Reclusia, linked it off. He flipped Roar, popped my Magius, had to pass turn, and then he just put on enough damage for the next turn. So that was another misplay that I had. I should have, I mean, essentially thinking I had 2 Reclusias in my hand. I mean, I could have easily have normaled this, linked it off, did the chain block to target this, and forced out a Rage or a Roar. So, like, that was my fault. Misplays for days. But that's what happens, you know, we're only human. But yeah, so game 3, I go first. I open full combo. He has no disruption. Well, I think I Azathoted him, so even if he did, it didn't matter. But I draw 8 cards off of Saryuja, and I don't draw into anything, guys. I mean, I'm not saying, like, I didn't draw into my Waterfront. I didn't draw into nothing. Like, everything I drew into was nothing to extend me past the point of an Equal Max with just 1 negate. And normally, like, if you guys have played this deck, you normally, bare minimum, you can at least push out and end on an Equal Max with a Dawn Dragster or an Equal Max with, like, a Draco Berserker or Savage. Like, you're able to push for that, but I was not. Like, my draws off of that Skull Dread were so bad. They were multiples of cards. Like, they were multiples of, like, cards I've already special summoned that turn, so I couldn't get them out. It was just so bad. And he ended up getting me in game 3, which is all right. You know, it's all fun and games. And then round 3, I played my man Ryan. Ryan, he was like, I'll tell you what, man, why don't I just give you the win, and then we can just play for fun on, like, we can play for fun. I said, you know what, dude, with my record today, we should play because you might get a win out of this. Coincidentally, he did not. Rip Ryan, he got slaughtered. I beat him like a redheaded stepchild. And that's just, yeah, if my deck showed up like it did for Ryan the whole day, my record probably would have been different, but hindsight 2020. But to go on, after, so, like, that was round 4. I don't even remember the placing I got. It was not anywhere close to top 4. I probably got 1 above last. But continuing on, to fix the problem of seeing multiple waterfronts, I cut waterfront down, actually, believe it or not. I cut it down to this right here, to 2 waterfronts and a terraforming. So this is now the ratio I'm playing. I feel very insecure playing this ratio so far because waterfront is such a pivotal win condition. We do not need waterfront to win. We can win without waterfront because this deck can successfully put on 3 interruptions with Equal Max, Dawn Dragster, and True Draco Berserker without getting to the Waterfront. So that is, we don't need it. It's just you feel better having the Waterfront in your arsenal, or you just know, like, once you summon the turtle, essentially it's like you better have Dark Rule no more, or you like, there's no way for them to beat through it. So I decided to cut this down and actually play a card and put in one Destrudo for the extra Waterfront. And this is a card that people have a lot of mixed opinions on, and I understand why. So the reason I decided to do this, because I spent countless hours and I rigged my hands like this. I would just rig these two cards and then I'd draw a hand. So bam. So in this hand right here, 2 Waterfronts doesn't get you anything, but if you turned one of those Waterfronts into a Destrudo, you get farther and you still accomplish the same thing. And that being said, what I mean by that is, like, Destrudo does way more for you in this hand than this did. And I did that a bunch of times, guys. Like, I mean, I'm talking like almost 20 to 30 times. I did test hands where I rigged my hand with the Waterfronts and then would slap in Destrudo to see how it would make the hand better. And it would. It just pretty much secures you. You are drawing 8 cards all together, so you should see the Waterfront. You should. And Destrudo is just so good because, like, Destrudo is a dragon extender for your guard dragon plays. It allows you to push your Synchro 7 plays, and most importantly, if you target a level 3, it becomes a level 4. You can overlay to make your Azathoth plays, and then it doesn't go back to the deck. It goes to the graveyard for reuse on the following turn. The only reason this card is not very popular is the hefty price. But if you're going first, I mean, if you're going game 1 and you do this, it's fine. Like, they're normally not going to be able to beat over your board once you end with it anyway. So, I mean, yeah. The only time this card is bad is in game 3 and it's close to time. So just be a smart player, and if you realize you have 2 minutes left on clock, probably not a good idea to use Destrudo. So just do keep that in mind. So these are the changes that I made, and nothing else in the deck has really changed. However, I'm really starting to have a love-hate relationship with Rocket Tracer. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull out Rocket Tracer to discuss with you Rocket Tracer and why I have a love-hate relationship. So if you guys don't remember, I used to always complain on how I would always, when I used to play one Tracer, I'd always open Quick Launch and the Tracer, so that would make 2 cards in my hand dead. So I opted to play 2 Tracer, so when this inevitably happened, 1 card in my hand would be dead. But again, we've come to the point on where I'm seeing this a lot. I am seeing Tracer in my hand a lot. Sometimes not even with Quick Launch, I'm just seeing Tracer. And that's not good, because that means another card in your hand is dead. And if your hand is already not good, you needed that card to be something live. So I'm gonna love-hate with it. I might actually cut it back to 1 and test a little bit more with it, see if it's decided to stop acting up and floating up to the hand with my Quick Launch. We'll see. But for the most part, like, I just not a fan of seeing, like, I would much rather, and in the regional, I did see this a lot, but I always saw Quick Launch with it, so then I could beam out the other one. So it was not really a problem in that sense. And there's just, like, there's some cheeky plays you can do with it if you do open, like, if you open this and, like, Maximus, and you're going second to, like, if you're going second, man, like, it's just phenomenal. Like, to an Appaloosa, man, you summon to his own Appaloosa points to, use the Magus normal summon, Quick Launch out to the second one, then you just link off into Magius, and then you make Azathoth. So, like, that does have playability in a sense, but it's just so bad. But, like, it's such a good engine because, like I said, the Quick Launch engine pretty much suffices for, like, 3 aspects of your deck at the current moment. So, moving on. Now, let's see here. Let's go ahead and talk about the ban list. So, to kind of just brush over my opinions of the ban list to kind of save time, we all know something has to happen to strikers. We all know that Engage is probably not going to get hit. We know that Engage cannot stay to 3. We know the best hit for strikers will be to put 2 Engage to 1 to keep the deck playable. But we people who are saying Engage needs to go to 2, it's useless at 2 because then it essentially did nothing. So that's my opinion for strikers. You pretty much hit every powerful card in the deck but Engage. It's time to put Engage to 1 and move on. I mean, there is different ways to get the back. That or Hornet Drones, that could be argued. You could hit Hornet Drones potentially too, which I honestly would be either one. Put them to 1 and ban Hornet Drones. I mean, they're going to essentially have 6 monsters, so they'll be able to get to a Link monster. So, like, I mean, even if you think about it, they have 6 monsters, Ray and Rose. I mean, really, you play 3 Foolish Brilliant of Goods, you Foolish Brilliant of Goods to Engage, normal Rose, Ray, Lincoln, Takagari, add it back, Engage. Like, I mean, it's not impossible. Moving on, Orchist. So, in my opinion, you can either put Harp Horror to 1, or you can put Babble to none. Or you can just ban altogether Orcus Nightmare, in my opinion. That might be too drastic. Comment down below what your guys' thoughts are. Same with the Sky Strikers, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a fan of just completely slaughtering a deck out of no playability. I am completely a fan of slaughtering the deck to where it's not splashable anymore, and the deck can still play, but it's not at like its full power. So that's my opinion. Harp to 1, Babble to none, Orchestrated Return, gone. Not Orchestrated Return, that's okay. Yeah, ban Orchestrated Return. That's probably what Konami would do, to be honest with you, and leave everything alone. But Orchestrated Nightmare to none. But we'll see. And I'm not saying you have to hit all 3 of them like that. Hit one of the 3 like that. Hit something hard enough that we see a significant change to where Orcus is not splashed in everything and it's not so prevalent. Now let's move on to Salads. I don't think Salad needs to be hit, to be honest with you. Salad has pretty much done its time. It's not really a threatening... It is a threatening deck for the simple fact that it can man so many hand traps and it just does the same thing over and over and over again. But it's just like, the deck's been hit Gazelle to 1. Maybe if you hit something... I don't know what you would hit else in it. Outside of maybe hitting a card in the extra deck, like Balinx. But like, even then, like if you hit Balinx to 1, I mean... Salad, I think, is okay. And if they do decide to hit, it'll be interesting to see what they hit. Maybe Jack Jaguar or Falco maybe can go. Maybe put Spinny too. It just all depends on how they want to go with it. Thunder Dragon. So like in the current format, I don't think Thunder needs to be hit. You very rarely see it. But in the new revision that's coming up, Thunder Dragon is going to be pretty bad. So I do think they need to be a preemptive hit to Colossus. There's nothing in that deck. If you put Colossus to 1, everything in the deck is fine, because you're not going to go through, like, no matter what, they're always just going to be able to end on 1 Colossus, which most decks can handle 1 Colossus. A good old Imperm can get rid of the Colossus. Forbidden Chalice can get rid of the Colossus. And, like, there's just different things. You have a Kaiju for 1 Colossus. I mean, so, like, take that into consideration. You can easily Kaiju 1 Colossus. You can't Kaiju 3 of them. So... But that's just my opinion too. I mean, you could potentially hit other things like Thunder Dragon Dark, Thunder Dragon Hawk, Roar, etc. But I think the heart and soul of the problems with Colossus, remove Colossus or put Colossus to 1, because you don't want to remove it altogether because you want the deck to still be able to play. Put it to 1, you still have a chance. The deck can still play, you still have fun with it. Let's see here. I think that's it for what I think is going to happen on the ban list. I think we can maybe see Unicorn come off the ban list, since it was, they were kind of releasing all that stuff. There's just not much really anymore. The Master Rule revision. So let's touch base on that while I have time. I want to keep this video under 30 minutes. So the revision, I think, is phenomenal. So the revision keeps certain decks in checks, like Pendulum. Pendulum had the ability to soul charge every turn, was too strong, and you know it. My cat knows it. Everybody knows it. Konami knows it. It was too strong. Being able to soul charge everything back every turn was too good. So with that being said, Lynx is now just a mechanic put in place to hinder Pendulums, to keep Pendulum in check. That is fine, because we still have certain powerful Link decks. Like, guys, Spirals just are getting the new Magician's Soul. You think that that's not going to put that deck overboard to be able to compete with decks that will not have to use Lynx? I don't think so. I think we're going to, I mean, that's just my opinion. DDDs can come back. That's a deck that I really wanted to play, because Siegfried is one of my all-time favorite Fate characters. So like, I was really excited to play that and look into that. But like I said, I don't know what the future holds for me building. I really like the Nemesis archetype, and I'm also kind of constructing Gladiator Beast at the moment. And the Nemesis won't come out till later anyway. But anywho, just Master Revision is just such a good mechanic. So like, Link decks, it's just every deck becomes more defined. So like, instead of every deck playing a Link, required to play a Link card, they don't have to. You can essentially go back to the way you used to play and not even touch a Link card, and you still get the extra zone. So I mean, it just signifies the deck. So like, now Crusadia will now be classified. Oh, well, every card on the top, there we go, will be classified as a Link deck, because every card in the deck is, in the extra deck, is almost Links. World Chalice will be a Link deck. I just said their name. Spirals will be a Link deck. Like, you just have more separation, more more individuality to decks now that is gone, which I really like. I'm really a big fan of that. And I think just certain decks come back, like Crystron's, the deck I have, that deck will be able to play way better. We lose a certain cool play we could have done with Needle Fiber, but we're losing that, but we get to have our monsters down here instead of being limited to here, which is fantastic. There's not much more I can say about it. I'm a huge fan of it. This deck does not change in it. I've tried to change it. I've tried to do different plays. The one thing I can tell you that does change is the last minute when you go to make the Dawn Dragster. In a sense, well, even in the sense of Dragster, like, so the simple fact is, well, we'll just quickly, I kind of messed up, guys, I'm sorry. So, like, and then you have, like, a level 4 extender already out. Let's say you special Maximus over here, and you're going to make the True Draco Berserker, Borlo Savage. Now, instead of being forced to put it here, showing off your equal max, you can put it here. Like, that's the only really, like, changes that this deck does. Like, essentially, we do the same thing we've always done. Placement is just different. We really don't place anything different, but the placement at the very end of our combo with the equal max has changed now, in the sense of we can just now plop something in the center and we can put what we want equal max point to, which normally we don't want equal max to point to Dawn Dragster because it gains 0 attack. We want it to point to our Borlo Savage or our Draco Berserker because then it'll gain 3,000. And we want the FA Dawn Dragster in the center line with equal max. But yeah, so we'll just go ahead and jump on into the question and answers. Again, guys, I'm sorry it was such a short time. Next time I will do like a huge, like, week-long. I'll post it Monday, and then I'll do the video Friday, and I can get a whole bunch more answers, and maybe it'll be more time of question and answers than it'll be me just rambling on and explaining to you guys my experience and me getting my cheeks clapped at locals. But for the first question, here we go. Could you possibly look into the new Nemesis archetype, and if there's any potential in that within a Crusadia build? So here's my, I kind of just said I was very interested in the Nemesis archetype for the simple matter of, the deck looks cool to me, but I'm a purist at heart, so I'm going to try to play it as pure as I can. I think the closest thing you can do to that is with the Invoked variant, and I'm going to kind of test with it in that sense when they finally come out. Now, someone did bring up that the deck does something for Crusadia. However, I can't see how the little monsters do anything for Crusadia. In that sense of, how do we get them out? How are we specially summoning them? They have to do, the only card that we can freely banish in the Crusadias is Arborean, and we have to, like, something of ours has to be getting destroyed. So how are we doing that? And then if you're gonna, some people can say, well, the mini dragons, you gotta see them, they're one-ofs, like, you gotta get to them. And then, like, people, you can get to them with Sephiroth and Brotar, but those are other bricks you got to play in your deck. So, like, something has to give somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Now, I do know that we do play each of different attributes, so we could potentially summon out the big boss guys, which essentially Shockmasters the entire turn for, I think, one does for type and one does for attribute. So we do have that ability to make our equal max bigger and beefier, and we have the ability to put that guy out and potentially resolve him, especially in the Guard Dragon variant, where as long as Skull Dread still remains, which is another thing we can touch base on for the ban list, Skull Dread's here. Will he get hit? We don't know. Does he deserve to get hit? I haven't seen a lot of recent tops with him. Every Link deck does play him, but most people play him at 1 now, unless you're trying to turbo him out twice. Even I've thought about cutting him down to 1. So with that being said, yeah, so I mean, it's gonna do something for the deck. It'll give the deck another cool win condition. We can draw Saryuja. Pause real quick. There is another card I want to talk about on the ban list. Skull Dread might also get hit in Azathoth. It's been a conversation. I'm biased on Azathoth. I think, like, people are just being like, yes, it provides one-sided gameplay, but tell me another deck outside of, like, this deck I'm playing now or Lunalight Orcus that play it. Then once you do that, tell me one deck that's topped with it outside of, like, my invite I got with it. If you can even classify as a top, I got my invite outside of Lunalight Orcus. And I don't even know if you can foresee it being a problem in the new Master Rule. But if it is, it'll come out. Anyway, next question. How does Crusadia look in April? Oh, well, I mean, okay. So, to bring you guys, to be honest with you, my man, depending on the ban list, I assume an Azathoth's going to get hit, in which case I'm going to be playing number 60 in its stead, because number 60 is such a powerful card, and I will show you guys potentially later, if it comes to that, what number 60 can do, but there's no point in using it, because if Azathoth doesn't get hit, I'm not going to play this card. So essentially what it's looking like in the future is playing the same thing. You can potentially add in the Nemesis, like I told you, to add a bigger, beefier monster and another win con for the deck. But mostly, like, if Azathoth does get hit, you're just going to put in Call by the Graves. We'll fit in Call by the Graves. We'll fit in, you free up 2 spots in the extra deck, which will probably be Dugaris and Nightmare Phoenix. And yeah, I mean, I really can't say much more than that the outlook of the deck for April looks potentially the same, if not more better in the sense. To the next question. It's obviously too early to give a definite answer to this question, but have you possibly thought of how you could change Crusadia after April 1st in order to maybe improve the guard dragon plays, potentially making use of the... Okay, so essentially the same question as before. Essentially, my man, I've kind of looked forward to it. It just depends on the ban list. The placement of Master Rule does not affect, the revision does not affect us, but depends on if we lose Azathoth. If we lose Azathoth, we just put in Dugaris, or you don't even have to put in Dugaris. You put in whatever you want. And like, I'm not saying you have to. You put in these cards. I do think the familiar package is super strong, and we should keep it in just for the simple fact of just how powerful it is. But with that being said, like, changes I can make to it, not really. And then like for the OTK variant, that you know, like my opinion for the OTK variant is you're playing a deck that's only strong going second and an unpredictable dice roll, and that's one thing why I really like my current build, because my deck is not dice roll dependent. I make Azathoth going first, I make a guard dragon board, and with the Sea Turtle Linkle I go second, I make Azathoth shut off their board and their hand traps, OTK them. So that's just my opinion. I'm sorry if I kind of droned off on that question. I kind of answered in the previous question above. So moving on to the fourth question. Excuse me, we have 4 questions. Would you like to try a new World Chalice build, or what deck are you most likely going to play starting April? So actually, good thing you asked that, my man. I'm actually tinkering right here. I'm tinkering with a World Chalice build at the moment. I'm just kind of testing. Not really 100% sure on how I'm going to take the build, but I am testing it. It is in here. I have been testing it. So for all you World Chalice fans out there, I am tinkering with the deck. I'm trying to work something out with it. So just hold with me and just, you know, bear with me in time. I'm trying to get away from, because the Crusadias do the, Crusadia, as I've said before, they don't need the turtle to win. And we get to the turtle pretty consistently. And I hate to say it, this deck here almost needs the turtle. Is it like, if the turtle's in here, it's a win condition. Like, it's the only win condition. You can play different around that, in my opinion, but the turtle's what you're trying to get to. Most importantly, what you're also trying to do in this variant that I'm testing now. And like this deck doesn't really have a solid win con outside of the turtle, whereas Crusadia has multiple win conditions. But what I'm trying to test now is I'm trying to shoot for an using IB, the synchro, to search for this is a proc for the World Legacy Sorrows. To search for World Legacy Sorrows and on a Tri-Gate Negate board, and just, you know, stuff like that. Pretty much, yeah. So it is in the works, and yeah, that's not much I can take. Just hang tight. You know, like, I'm pretty busy with trying to tinker with other stuff. Like I said, Gladiator Beasts, Cristrons, like, I'm just having a mess of stuff, but it is in the works. So one day, hopefully before April, I'll get you guys an updated profile for it. So what deck do you look to play at the starting of April? I'm still probably going to play Crusadia. I'm really not going to lie. This deck is like, I made a post a while back too in the community saying, like, have you guys ever found a deck that you just couldn't get away from, that you loved so much? You love the artwork, you love the story with it, you love the playstyle, you love all that. Well, that's essentially this deck for me. A deck I am looking forward to playing the new Master Rule, or Master Rule Vision, will be Gladiator Beast, which I am constructing at the moment, and Cristrons too. As far as competitive-wise, I did get my invite, so for like the 5th time this video, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like rub it in, I did get my invite, so I do plan on going to Nationals. So this is probably the deck I will play for Nationals, because I got to rep the homies at Nationals. So, I mean, yeah, but that's Crusadia probably all the way. Maybe might tinker around with Crystron some more and Gladiator Beast. So, but anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to check in the link in the description below. Please help Australia if you can. Any little penny counts. Check out our awesome sponsors and our Game Time Cards and Collectibles and OPHIDIAN Duelist. This has been Charles from Team COG signing out.